Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Just want to talk about Boba Fett, of course. And the question of the day is, Hasbro had their PulseCon, so they released a lot of figures last week. A lot of pre-orders went up. And one that I definitely did pre-order was the Star Wars The Black Series Boba Fett in the Return of the Jedi box or whatever, from the Return of the Jedi. It's part of that figure collection. And I'm going to talk about kind of why I did that. But first, what I want to do is I want to talk about how many Boba Fetts is too many Boba Fetts. And I'm not sure you can have too many Boba Fetts. If you had asked me maybe a few years ago, I might have said something completely different. But let's just take a look at this. So I have the Boba Fett in the orange stripe box, right? From when the Black Series first started, and I was very happy to get this figure. I did have it out of the box, that's why his head's not perfectly in there, but I have since put him back since the archive collection, and I've been able to pick up a few other Boba Fetts over the course of the year, so I was able to repackage this. So this is a repack, but it's my Boba Fett that I got for that repack. I'm going to talk about my original Boba Fett. This is one of my favorite figures that I had when I was a kid. I really loved it. I tried to take good care of this figure. You can tell that it was very well played with, though. It's not super loose, but you can tell some of the paint has come off. And I found this in a box of stuff that came from my parents' house back from Oklahoma to California when we were moving everything back, and it was inside of a little box that had a few of my figures. I had thought this was lost, but it is now back in my collection. I did pick this one up. This is a newer figure. This is not the retro collection figure. I do have that one on the card still. I haven't opened it. But this is one of those rocket firing Boba Fetts that they came out with. Re-release of this Boba Fett, but it had a rocket firing backpack, which is kind of cool. You just pull that little thing down and there's a button and it fires off. So it's not a prototype. It's not a vintage rocket firing Boba Fett by any means. This was production that came out much later, but I was happy to get that. So I got my prototype armor Boba Fett here, and I actually have a couple of those. I have this one that I put together with a Jango Fett helmet and head that I showed off in a recent video where I used the Jango Fett head, add some scarring, made him so he can remove his helmet. When the news broke that he was going to be in The Mandalorian. This, of course, is the San Diego Comic-Con special edition one with the different paint structure on it. So I'm kind of really glad to have that figure. I do have one still on the card, and it's one of the only figures that I'm actually keeping on the card. So this is the actual Boba Fett figure that I have displayed with all the rest of my figures. And kind of what I want to do is just talk about what's different between this figure and the new one that's coming out. But the first thing that I want to talk about is the helmet, right? So it pretty much looks like it's going to be very similar to the helmet, right? We've only got like the production photos of the helmet and stuff like that, but I'm guessing that's going to be pretty close. It looks like it's got maybe a little bit more weathering on the helmet than this one would have, and I think that's fine, and maybe the paint's going to be a little bit better. When you look down at the chest armor here, I think that it's going to have pretty much the same wear pattern. I don't know if it's going to have that red in there. It's hard to tell based on the pictures if it's going to have that red. And I'm not sure it's going to have this logo on there either. I'm not sure it's going to have that. It's going to have the same kind of this grayish, bluish coloring on there. But one of the things that I noticed, which is going to be really different, is that these pouches are not going to be right here as to hinder the leg movement. They actually look like they're going to be up higher and part of this belt structure over here. And there's going to be like this piece right here. Almost looks like it could be a fabric or more looking like a fabric or maybe just because it's more exposed. But those pouches almost look like they're going to be fabric off the ends too. The other thing that I do notice that's different is going to be the belt. So this belt has the pouches hanging down and just a few collapses here. But it looks like it's going to be more like the Jango Fett belt, where it's going to have a bunch of little pouches all the way across. Looks like the arm pieces right here are going to be a different color. They're not going to be this green scheme. Looks like they're going to be a brown. And he looks like he's going to have two different colors up here. One's going to be red and one's going to be like a yellowish color. Then he's going to have a brighter, looks like a brighter yellow down here, which is maybe going to be more in line with that color scheme. So that looks pretty good. It looks like there's going to be maybe a little bit more detail on these pockets, like there's going to be actual button on there. And the bottom of the boots look like they might not be this color. They may be like a little greenish, but this definitely looks like it's going to be have a green tint to it. And the top of this missile looks like it's going to have some red, where it's and the actual jetpack looks like it's going to be blue. So it looks like there's going to be quite a few differences on this Return of the Jedi one that's coming out, and that's not including all of the accessories that you're going to get, because with this figure you pretty much get the gun, the backpack, and the rifle. But in the Return of the Jedi one, it looks like it's going to have the little rope that shoots out that can wrap around the Luke. It's going to have some flames coming off the side. It's going to have this rifle here, but it looks like it might have like a break apart function, so when Luke cuts it in half, you can recreate that Luke slicing that in half. It looks like with those accessories and with the new color scheming, right? You didn't even get that much color scheming on this Comic-Con one for the jetpack. It is bluish with a red tint, but that other one looks like it's going to be a lot more blue. And with this guy, he didn't even come with a cape. Overall, I think that Boba Fett is going to be one for the collection. It is coming with a little bit more. It looks like it's a premium package. Looks like the package may be bigger than the rest of them. And it's going to have those extra accessories. So I think that Boba Fett is going to be a really good addition to your collection. It's going to be a good addition to my collection. I was able to pre-order it the other day when they announced it. I'm glad I did. I know I'm not going to see it for a long, long time, but at least I know one day it'll come. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, subscribe if you haven't already, and come back for more.